It is just a huge honor for me to be podcast interviewing Kahng all the way from Naperville, Illinois, and he is with LSK121 Oral Prosthetics, and it's LSK because in America it's just easier to go by Luke, so he added Luke, but his real name is Kahng. CDT is a world-renowned master ceramist with nearly 30 years of experience as a dental technician. He has developed a national and international following. His mission is build the world's best high-end dental laboratory with affordable prices for all in Naperville, Illinois. The lab handles all aspects of restoration cases. As owner and director of operations, Luke trains and oversees LSK121's team of 40 technicians who fabricate fixed, removable, and combo implant full mouth restoration cases. Luke utilizes his decades of experience to ensure that LSK121 maintains its reputation, providing high-quality, world-class, sophisticated work. Through his passion providing the most natural-looking and lifelike restorations possible, he invented his own revolutionary shade guide system in 2009 to help dental professionals everywhere who struggle with shade matching and color. In 2010, he updated the system, finally creating his ceramic shade guide system in 2012, which currently provides the most detailed shade tabs available for clear and succinct communication between dentists and laboratories regarding two shades and characteristics. It is a worldwide bestseller. His lectures have been presented both nationally and internationally, creating worldwide sales for his shade system and his various books, including Anatomy from Nature, Aesthetic Guide Book, and Smile Selection Plus CS3 clinical cases. In 2016, he will again publish a book about custom shade matching entitled Replicating Naturalism, with over 300 illustrative pages of real patient cover cases in hardcover format. He regularly publishes articles in various dental journals since 2005, totaling over 110. The publications he has worked with are among the following: AAED, QDT, the Journal of Cosmetic Dentistry, Inside Dentistry, Dental Town, Dentistry Today, Compendium, PPAD, Spectrum Dialogue, Teamwork, LMT, Dental Lab Products, Inside Dental Lab Technology, and JDT. Luke, I can't tell you how honored I was to be able to get you to come on the show today. Thank you so much for spending an hour of your precious life with me. On your lab name LSK121 Oral Prosthetics, where does the 121 come from?
Actually, the Bible is Psalms 121.
And what is that quote? Psalms 121.
Where's my help come from?
Text me that, right? What does it say? What is it?
It says, where's my help come from? Who made heaven and earth?
Wow. So,
yeah.
So you so your name is from Psalms, and when you came to America from South Korea, you chose the name Luke. It sounds like you're a very spiritual man.
Try best I can.
Well, my two older sisters who are nuns, I can already tell, will just love you. So what did you want to talk about today? I always think dentists, they need to work with their value chain. They need to go meet the dental insurance CEO in their state who's sending them a check for all kinds of money, and learn what their side of the business looks like. So many dentists just take an impression, put it in a box, mail it around the world, and I feel so many dental laboratories, they need to communicate more with the dentist, but a lot of times the labs say they're afraid of some dentists because they're afraid if they say this impression isn't very good, that they'll quit using you as a lab. What % of your clients do you feel safe with, where you could say, hey, Howard, this is a horrible impression, your prep's ugly, you didn't give me enough reduction? How many dentists make you feel safe to share your side of the story so that the patient gets better dentistry, versus how many are you kind of afraid to piss off and lose their business?
Well, we are so lucky because I established my business 1996, which is almost 2 decades. And then I went through all over that story, which is I've been there. So what I'm currently right now, probably only 5%. They decline, or I hesitate to tell them. But it's most of them, over 90% dentists, they're really good. Meaning that we work together, we communicate together, because we must handle with a lot of complex cases, from the fixed and the removable. and implant and removable. So those kind of, in a lot of complex cases, we talk together, we work together. We are really fortunate. We only, I would say probably 5%, that's about it.
If you're a dentist listening to this right now, when you get to work, Howie's homework for you today is I want you to call your lab tech and say, look, I want you to feel safe with me. I want to be a better dentist. I don't want you to be worried to give me feedback. And in fact, and also you should go to your lab, even if your lab's out of the state. Well, maybe that could be your next vacation. Maybe, I mean, you're a suburb of Chicago, right?
Correct.
So if you're using Luke as a client, well, next time you go to Chicago midwinter meeting, stop by the lab, press the flesh, run for mayor, because you could probably walk them through the lab and give them a lot of information by showing them cases you're working on.
Absolutely. Yeah, they all the time did it. They came by my office, they saw my facility, and then we personally talk each other face to face. And then we discuss about their cases with the complex, cosmetic, which is more tough case, most likely more full mouth types, either 5 implant, from 2 implant from locators, 3 implant from Halo bar, or 4 implant Aurum 4 types. And then we're talking about the denture Aurum 4 or screw retain full mouth zirconia with the layer or mono, or we can offer them a titanium base with top of their single crowns, cement together. We're talking about the occlusion, so many things we can share. So we are so lucky. Most likely we got a lot of spouse cases and dentist cases, father's cases. We all the time discuss with a big case and communicate it in order to finalize it, which means we have a tough case, which is I love it. Make me feel better and alive. Instead of the single, I don't know much about talking about single, especially whoever sent me triple tray. And like you said, I want to be a better dentist, and they have to change the impression technique, which means a full arch impression. And then communicate with the coloring through email. So I want to see the documentation instead of they talking about drawing. Probably they said A1 or B1. I all the time say that it's not much difference when you prescribe A1. I give you A1. What look like crown is A1. Is that better? No. So a lot of dentists confuse. Why do they have to using LSK121? There's a reason. I highly recommend them to use with a picture, with a shade guide, and then write it down what do they need, and then we can choose a proper material selection from the opacity and transparency. So we trying to match the patient's mouth and as much as possible, and then that was better idea.
It seems to me, of watching your career over the years, that shade guide must be a big problem because you've spent so much time working on a shade guide. I mean, is that a big problem, and that's why you spent so much of your career perfecting a new shade guide?
That's exactly because we've been working with a traditional company, which they said A1, B1, 3D color, Vita, shade tab, which is great guide. The problem is, as you know, who need a crown? Most likely elderly people. If someone need a crown 20 years old, hardly they need a crown, maybe inlay, because they don't have any cavity. But who need a crown? Let's think about it. Whoever has the enamel is gone, there's a lot of cavity, they already have a filling, but it's not right. They need a crown, but guess what? Surrounded by their teeth is low opacity, which is high translucency. The problem is current hour shade tab is a high opacity, meaning it's not relevant when doctors or technicians trying to take the color in the mouth, never match it. Only match whoever has fake crown is a match. So that frustration lead to me. So I'm all the time thinking about the labor. How can I save my time? And then I'm starting about the high-end technicians. My crown fee I right now about $400 to $600 if I do by myself. Meaning they well organize it, they know what they're doing. So they send the case. I made it world class about cosmetic full mouth cases. But I'm all the time thinking about what's the problem with my employee about education. That's why I had a lot of passion. Anyway, I overtime 12, 13 hours every day. So I got the natural teeth. His name's David Schubert. He's an Illinois guy. He's a nice guy, super nice guy. He's a very special guy. He went to Haiti all the time. He pulled out the teeth. I told them, hey, can I have the all bad teeth? Great. So he pulled out the teeth, he handed out to me, so I collect probably 3,000 natural teeth. So I selected, it's really dirty. I mean, really, smell is bad, but I organize it. I just narrow down. Not only that, I saw a lot of patients in-house. Fortunately, doctor sent the patient to our laboratory. So I took the custom shade, and then I wrote it down all the time thinking. Then I talked to my colleague, which is high-end, which is good, crazy laboratory technician. They all the time say that, look, it's not possible to organize natural teeth. But all the time thinking, no, it is possible. So I fabricated and the enamel, so I narrowed down, so I found it with common part, which means common part is patient, we need a shade guy with low value or medium value. That is more matching towards natural teeth. That's the key. Second, we need the characteristics, meaning think about it. If patient is beautiful lady, 30 years old, they bleaching 5 times, bleaching, right? So they has a cosmetic surgery, but unfortunately she broke the teeth number 9. How can you match? So we have to know those kind of direction. For example, the other one is a man and worker guy. They never brush teeth, but drink the wine, whatever, you see a lot of characteristics staying here and there. So I made characteristics, meaning it's enamel characteristic, crazy line, and the cervical dark color, whatever, so I made it. So I narrowed down. So second key is, whoever uses my shade tab, it is already matched. Now, a lot of dentists ask me, look, which porcelain did I use it? My technician, I've been using my technician 30 years. I love this guy. And then, I don't know his name or what, but here's very simple. Porcelain is porcelain with the feldspathic from Vita company. GC America, or any other company is pretty much the same. So here's the key. Enamel overlay to the dentin, and then they can put the characteristic. I told them, we do have a recipe, we can give it to them. 2 things I found out. One thing, technician refuse it, they don't want to learn. Other technician, they're willing to learn, but I break down really easy job. My goal is here, I want to match the color with a simple recipe, method, and then affordable price to the doctor and patient. That's my goal.
Wow, that is amazing. It sounds like with all of what you just said, we put up about 450 one-hour courses on Dentaltown,
Wow.
and they're coming up on 1 million views. You should create an online CE course on how to take a shade, your shade guide, and other secrets to working better with your lab. I think that would be a very informative presentation.
So Dr. Farran, after I fabricated my shade guide, which is called Seasons of Life. So one shade tab's about 20, I call young. And then second is middle age, which is 20 shade tab. Third is elderly person, 60. And then fourth, I made the occlusion enamel and canine. And then 5 shade tab as custom prep color and gum color. I would say I do have a lot of fans. They love it. But I do have a negative response from them. Number one, they said, look, I got that. Looks great. But to me, too complicated because 100 shade. And second, they said too expensive. So now I'm almost set up my factory line. I'm trying to narrow down with a one shade tip 30 with the zirconia shade tab. We're going to launch with you next February. That's so exciting. Then I can definitely involve more how to take color, how to proceeding the matched adjacencies. Not only that communication, which is simple photo concept. I definitely gonna help you guys too. I appreciate you offer me.
I know you're driving to work right now, so what I do is I like to retweet my guest's last tweet on Twitter so that they can follow me at Howard Farran. So you're at LSK121.
Yes.
I'm going to retweet. You just tweeted an hour ago. My mission is accomplished. Thanks, Dr. Derek Johnson, Arkansas. And that was an amazing case. So I just retweeted that. So let's talk more specifics on a lot of podcasters are young. They're more likely to be millennials. And I noticed that you said elderly was 60 and over. You got to get a new name because next week I turn 55. That means in 5 years I'm going to be elderly. Can we change elderly to like sexy senior citizen or grandpa with all that and a bag of chips? I mean, I just don't like the elderly word. I can't be 5 years away from being elderly.
I know, good point, but I did not say older. I did not say older. I said elderly. It could be 75. It could be 64.
So,
yeah.
a lot of these young kids, they get out of dental school, and the first thing they need to do for a couple of years, it's kind of like football. You need to learn your basic block, tackle, reception, pass. They're doing a lot of single units. When do they need to use a quadrant tray, and what type of tray do you like? When do they need to take full mouth impression, and when does that full mouth impression need to be sent to you on a semi-adjustable articulator? Go through the criteria of that.
Okay, so sadly, the young dentists spend a lot of money after they graduate school. So I completely understand. They have to pay the bill, they have to buy the car, they have to get the home. So when they have the single, let's say molar, unfortunately they have to take the quadrant. It's a quadrant or a triple tray. They have to, not a problem. But when do they have a 3-unit or 4-unit bridge cases? Then I recommend the full mouth case, full impression is better because I have to see the adjacencies, shape and contour. Right?
Now, is it okay to use a triple tray, a quadrant tray, if it's a second molar and you don't have a tooth behind it, or if there is no tooth behind it, do you like full mouth? Or if you're doing a second molar and a quadrant tray only picks up the first molar and the 2 bicuspids and canine, is that okay?
Yep. So one single crown, and the quadrant is okay. Of course, they have to take the opposing with the arginate or another impression, or they can make triple tray is okay. The problem in triple tray, probably 5% does not fit because they took it out. The impression is wobbling, but that's only negative things. Yeah, single crown, they cannot take full arch impression. I completely understand because when they took the full arch impression, the problem is when I'm mounting together, the other occlusion has already erupted or bubble, meaning I have to re-equilibrate the model, which means it leads to a high occlusion. So at that moment, young dentists, they can use triple tray quadrant totally fine for molar crown.
The dentist only sees what they use, but you get to see what everybody uses. Do you have any favorite triple trays? There's metal ones, there's plastic ones, there's Premier makes one. What triple tray do you like?
Well, metal is good, much better than plastic.
Metal is much better than plastic.
And then I hope they can involve more digital dentistry, meaning they have to buy the scanner, and then they just send it out the STL file to laboratory. So they completely remove the impression materials. There was another option.
Okay, well, when you talk about scanner, how many different types of scanners are you receiving? 3M makes one called True Definition.
Right.
There's a bunch of different scanners. There's
shape.
What's that?
3Shape.
3Shape. Which one is your favorite?
Well, I like the iTero 3 shape. That one is most comfortable, most good case. GC Adva, they're a good scanner too. Just recently,
GC Adma.
Adva, GC America.
Yeah, GC America.
Okay, the name is Adva. A-A-D, V is in victory, A is apple.
So AADVA, GC America, AADVA.
Yes.
And their North American headquarters is near you. Aren't they in Chicago? You're in Naperville?
Yes, about 45 minutes from my office. They do have a great stuff. And then they made digital scanners really well.
And also Bisco is right around the corner from you.
Correct. They're a cement company.
Yeah. And you ever hang out with Byung Sa?
Well, we knew each other, but not really, because I'm more inside the laboratory. My heart is more here, so my passion is here. So it's my problem. I hardly do networking. That's the problem.
Well, you got to go meet Byung. He's my buddy, and he's right. I think is he in the same town as you? No, he's in, starts with an S.
Yeah, 35 minutes.
What's the name of that town?
Schaumburg.
Schaumburg. He's in Schaumburg. You're in Naperville. So you like the 3 shape, you like the Taro, you like the GC America. I noticed you didn't mention 3M's True Def.
That was good too.
That one's good. Any others that I missed?
No, there's this the Carol Stream.
Carostream.
Mm-hmm.
So talk about why should let's say you use Impergum from 3M. Mm-hmm. That's $17 of material and impression. A True Def scanner is $17,000. Why should a dentist stop using a $17 Impergum impression of polyether and switch to a $17,000 3M True Definition scan? Talk to the dentist on why you think that's a good idea.
Not only they can scan for single crown, they can scan with the edentulous cases, they can scan with the partial cases, they can scan with the implant cases. So we can talk more about digital dentistry. So we got the information from STL file. So we do have a printer, so we got most accurate. I'm saying the occlusion, I hardly get the bubble. Sometimes I do have a little bit about margin. However, that's most clean and accurate, more great communication, so they can do more than they think. Not only that, we can do virtual tour, they can do digital planning with us, so we can make surgical guide or digital denture or digital partial, and not only that they can scanning, that we can design it. We can make the model list too, but I'm not really fan about model list. So many things they can do, but impression, like you said, yes, but I would say the 30-40% they had a little issue here and there, either margin or after prop the model, occlusion area has a bubble, or interproximal has a bubble. So that leaves us is open contact or high type bite, etc. That is why, number one. So when they calculated the money, I mean, I know there's another cost, but initially they don't have to spend money, but that's their investment.
So what % of your incoming cases are coming in digital versus impression material?
Probably 20%.
20%, and this is 2017, right?
Yes.
So what was it 5 years ago in 2012? It's 20% now. What was it 5 years ago?
Zero.
When did it start? What year did you have your first one?
We accept case probably 4 years ago.
4 years ago, so I was off by one. I said 5 years ago. I should have said 4 years ago. My gosh. And what is do you think your remake rate is lower, the same, or higher with digital versus impression material?
But digital is tricky from our laboratory end. For example, after receive the digital cases, even though they scan properly, we have to look at it with the computer, which is clearly. So sometimes it's not clear, but the issue is laboratory need a great printer. model printer, right? So we do have an InVision Tech, has a great digital, big, huge chunk of the model printer, and also Dentist company, Genesis is a great printer too. So after we rode with a model to printing, that one is relate with the accuracy too.
So you like the InVision Tech printer?
Right, and also Dentist Genesis.
Okay, so you like InVision Tech and Genesis.
Correct. We have a 3 printer here.
And so you mentioned, so now you've gone from 0 4 years ago to now 20%. That's a very fast adoption rate. You mentioned 5 scanners, CareStream, 3M True Definition, 3Shape, Itero, GC America. What is the market share coming in? I mean, who is the most common? The next, I mean, and the point I'm asking this is, a lot of dentists feel a lot of safety by market share information because they know their colleagues all have 8, 10, 12 years of college and are buying this with their own money as opposed to an advertisement. So it means a lot to dentists. That's why we do the Townie Choice Awards every year, because a lot of dentists want to know what everyone's using. So what would you say is the most popular to the least popular that you're seeing now?
Let's put it this way. For molar and single types, we do have a more GC America ADVA types. But whenever we involve the implant and 3Shape cases, we got it.
So 3Shape is more coming in with people placing implants,
Correct.
and GC America ADVA is more people sending in single unit crowns.
Correct, single unit and 3 unit bridge, just like that. Yeah.
And you just mentioned 3 unit bridge. A lot of people thought when dental implants were going to come out that the 3 unit bridge would be dead. Is the 3 unit bridge dead? What percent of, when you were replacing a first molar 10 years ago, in 2007, what percent of those would have been a 3 unit bridge versus a single implant, versus now 10 years later in 2017, if someone's missing a first molar, would it be a 3 unit bridge versus an implant? How has that changed in the last 10 years?
Honestly, not much changing. I don't know why. It's not much changing. I know it's more logically they have to place implants instead of the grinding Jason teeth in order to make the unit bridge. But whenever we see our cases, I don't see much differences. By the way, we working with the nationwide dentists, about 65% North America. We have a lot of case from Arkansas, Texas, Florida, California, you know.
So what percent, when a patient is missing a first molar in America, you said it's 65% of your business, what percent of the time would a dentist do a 3 unit bridge versus an implant crown?
Probably the same.
But what percent? You said it's the same. It hasn't changed over the last 10 years. But what percent is it though?
Right now, yeah, 3 unit, 4 bridge, probably 10%, 20%. Yes, quite a bit.
3 unit bridge would be 10 to 20%.
Yes, and 4 unit, quite a bit. Yes,
and an implant crown would be 80%.
No. Okay, let's talk about the pie, 100%, right? So our laboratory most likely 30% of our full mouth restorations. Full mouth, meaning 4 implants, 6 implants, 8 implants, and then screw retained denture and screw retained zirconia, fixed case 28 unit or combo case 6 unit attachment, and halo bar. So our laboratory is very unique. So I mean, our laboratory almost about $6 million revenue. So
$6 million?
Yep. We do have 63 employees. So we got every day 3-4 full mouth cases every day. 3-4 full mouth cases. Our lab is very unique because I don't know why we don't have much single crown. We do have a lot of full mouth case. For example, I do have a 3 implant left and right and anterior. They want me to do the wax up design and make temporary case, and not only the lower teeth, I have to redo take it out all the crown and bridge, and then we make the flex partial lower for temporarily, and then when do have a surgery in the two implant, we help them about digital planning too. So we make the digital guide too. So that part about 30% now. Cosmetic about 30%, meaning cosmetic meaning 4 unit, 6 unit anterior, 8 unit, 10 unit anterior, 12 unit. That was 30% too. Our single molar 20%. I don't know why. And then 3 unit, 5 unit, probably 30%. So our most implant running to my main company is very unique, is very weird, which is what I'm looking for. Dr. Farran, think about it. A lot of young dentists bought the machine, they mill, and then they just mill. They just make one color, it's posterior, 2, 3, whatever. But I don't have any objection. But 5 years later, I will get the full implant. I will get 4 unit bridge from them. I will encourage them. I can correct their occlusion concept with TMJ and vertical dimension. I could reset up from class 2, class 3. So me or my technician, we all the time educate those kind of direction, which is we working with the combination cases, meaning the temporization implant, the fixed cases, night guard. So that is why it's very weird laboratory, which is what I'm looking for. So I'm glad. So kind of a little different in talking. Whenever you talk to somebody, probably my other laboratory guy, 70% single 3 unit, 4 unit, 70%. But our laboratory, over 10 unit, probably most like over 45%. So that's the difference. So that's why I publish with LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and so that I could show them. That's live. We, new cases, we just publish them. So that's why we are different.
Yeah, I just went that Envision Tech. Their website is 3hti.com. 3hti.com. I wonder what HTI stands for. But anyway, they say that the Envision Tech prints down to a 0.03 millimeter accuracy. Correct. So that's the printer that you like?
Yes.
What did that cost you?
I do have a Vita, the big machine, so around $100,000.
$100,000, wow.
Yeah, wow. And that machine that we can make the probably 40 models a day, but include jaw printing, including ortho model. And then I have another small one too. It's a Vita. And that was I can do surgical guide and night guard. We can make that. And then I have a Genesis model too. That one I can make the verification index, digital denture. So I heavily involved with digital dentistry. From the analog side to make the final digitalize it. That's my goal too.
And do you like these digital dentures?
Digital dentures is pros and cons, meaning right now currently looking it's decent, meaning it's not fancy, it's not high end. But what I can do, I can sit down to do to make with the Gradia composite from GC America, and then I put the characteristic for gum, and the teeth we add with the optic glaze or composite, we can change it. But think about it, there's a lot of labor. But what I'm saying, when we receive from the digital edentulous cases that relate with the final restoration, for example, immediate denture, that's good. And then a biplug is good. We can set the teeth and the back and forth doctor is good. For virtual tour, we can make that's good. So that's another part. The digital denture was, I would say, okay.
Amazing. So let's go back. Instead of the lifestyles of the rich and famous of all these dentists that can afford all these scanners, let's go back to the poor dentist. You said on quadrant trays you prefer metal over plastic. What about, do you prefer polyether or polyvinyl polysiloxane?
Well, it depends on the rigid impression when they have implant cases, as you know, right? So otherwise they can use polyether is okay. And I forgot to tell you, you asked me about semi-osseous articulator, right? So when do they have 6 unit anterior cases, I recommend them baseball or stick bite and horizontal and vertical. And then we can mounting with any other articulations. So whenever they have articulation which is more transferable types, I would say Altex, Penadent, SAMS, Cavo, those are articulation I recommend to them. So they have another articulation. So when do they need in the full mouth cases, that diagnosis cases, then wax up, equalization, whatever. So they have to buy the one articulations. If they need the mounting, they send it to the laboratory. Laboratory have them mounted. For them is a much better idea. But sometimes cross mounting has a little bit issue, unless they have to do good calibrations.
So you were naming those four. Those were articulator companies you were naming.
That one you style, I love it. It's more predictable.
Which one?
Sam's articulation.
Sam's articulation.
Yes, SAMS.
That's a semi-adjustable articulator.
Well, you can buy it, but there's a laboratory side. Yes, semi-articulator too. Yeah, Paradent is good.
Perident, Perident.
Yeah, P-A-N-A.
P-A-N-A.
Dent. Panadent.
P-A-N-A dent. Panadent.
Panadent, yes. And Artex.
How do you spell that?
A-R-T-E-X.
Artex.
Mm-hmm. And Cavo articulation is good. K-A-V-O. That one's good too. Yeah, that's most I favorite their articulations.
Oh, that is amazing. And you said you like polyether, like Impergum, better than polyvinyl siloxane because it's more rigid?
Right. I mean, depends on their cases. When do they have the implant cases, they have to using the more rigid impression.
So if it's an implant case, you want polyether, you want Impergum.
Correct.
And what about if it's just a tooth, a natural tooth?
Honestly, my dentist use both.
But which one do you like better?
Well, I don't see much huge differences.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm talking about fitting. I'm talking about margin integrity. I don't see much huge differences.
I was trying to think of those. God, when I got out of school 30 years ago, a lot of the dentists, what was that green stuff that you put in the tube? You had the hot water bath and you put in the green stuff. What was that called?
I don't know.
You remember that?
I don't remember that. I don't remember.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It was green in a tubes, and you had these hot water deals, these hot water baths, and you'd have it in there warming it up.
Wow.
And then rubber base.
Wow.
Remember that? And
no.
when I opened up in '87, you could always tell which dentists were over 60 because they were still using for Crown and Bridge rubber base and this green stuff. But you don't remember the green stuff, huh?
No.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Gosh, you're just a wealth of information.
Thank you.
So, okay, we intros going to show you guys tabs. What else do you think? What do you think are the top things dentists don't realize from their end that you realize better at the lab end? What are you seeing? I mean, they only see their work. They only see what they do. What do you think are better practices? The dentists that how many dentists do you work with?
Probably 500 dentists, world, North America.
So when you are dealing with 500 dentists and
dentists been using 4 different labs, as you know.
Yeah.
So,
but you get to see incoming work from 500 dentists.
Correct.
The dentist listening to you right now only sees their work. What do you think? What have you learned from what is better, higher quality, faster, easier, higher quality dentistry coming in? What are they doing that better than the ones that are having more problems?
Well, the number one, as I mentioned earlier, about color communication between the lab, patient, dentist, which means medium value and low value, in order to increase their productivity and more profitability in the future. So they don't see much, but they have to keep communicating with their laboratory. How can they improve the color in order to make the better fit in patient's mouth regardless material selection. And number two, implantology. So when they have the question about the multiple implant or complex cases, they have to discuss with their laboratory, then share with the final destinations, including patient budget. Sometimes patients don't have any much money, so they have to talk together about that one. And then third, they have to talk about the occlusion too, about the occlusion contact, the fossa, or tripod contact. So they have to talk to the technician too. And then, unfortunately, a lot of lab, be honest with you, is not qualified. Just like we make living every day, just make crown. They don't know what they're doing. Just made it, just a cookie cutter. Just made it every day. So I completely understand dentist thinking, but they have to find out the right lab technicians. They discuss together, and then for their goal. I mean, most people, their goal is different. Yeah, I can prep the 30 crown, I can prep the 50 crown, whatever, but depends on their goal. They want to be great dentistry, or they want to make a living, but they all the time talking about the laboratory. That's why I recommend them, they have to contact the laboratory regarding implant and the digital dentistry, and I already mentioned it, something like that.
So there's a thread on Dental Town today, and I wish you'd weigh in on it. It says, question for lab owners regarding alginate impressions. This person is working for a dentist, and the dentist, when they take alginates, will put the alginates, they routinely ship their alginate impressions wrapped in wet paper towels in a Ziploc bag, and they ship that to the lab owner, who's going to pour them up 2 days later. What do you think of that technique? What do you think of when they take alginates, wrap it in a wet paper towel and a Ziploc bag, and then send that into you?
Okay, so only thing they have to worry about it, when they took the alginate, do not use a paper towel and soak in, otherwise that alginate will going to erupt it. Otherwise, it is okay, they can wrap it around the water, but depends on the weather. They have to pour up the water immediately. That's my recommendation. Otherwise, it will going to erupt the teeth, so it's not going to fit the final, whatever they want. Nicod, it's not going to work.
I just remembered what that green stuff was called.
Yeah.
Hydrocolloid.
Oh, that one is good too. I love it.
You love that?
I love it. I still have some case from the doctor. That's great accuracy too. The problem is I don't have any second model. They only take the only one model.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you the most controversial question in all of dental laboratory relationships. Remakes. Who pays for the remake? What's fair? So some dentists say, well, it didn't fit. It's not my fault. It's your fault. You remake it for free. A lot of the labs are sitting there saying, I feel bad about this because that was a horrible prep, a horrible impression. Hell, you sent me a quadrant impression and still had the bloody cotton roll in it. Do you still have dentists sending you impressions with bloody cotton rolls stuck in the impression?
Very little, but that's not huge effect. But effect meaning eruption, effect meaning margin integrity. So many things. So usually we remake for them, but we all the time recommend them take the new impression. You will get problem. So we usually eat it. However, when you have a more issue that we recommend the doctor, we're not the right laboratory for you. We can explain that because people are not going to change it. We cannot keep on remake without charge it, but we just stand behind them. But we're trying to train them. So nobody liked the remake, right? So do you?
So you're saying that if the lab should recognize that this impression is not right and send it back, and if the lab doesn't recognize the impression is not right and goes to make the crown doesn't fit, then you remake it for free?
Yeah. So but here's the thing: is criteria. Number one, it's really bad. Really bad meaning I cannot read the margin. Absolutely send it back. Number two, I see the slightly bubble, right? We can cut it. We make them happening. Number three, we just work with their impression. For example, when we have a full mouth cases, let's say 14 unit lower, they prep the individual teeth. Now, I noticed, even though doctor took the 3 impression, I noticed that after prep the model, number 28, number 19 has a bubble. We call the doctor, we let them know, and then you will get remake this open margin. However, we make everything for them. So we expect the 2 crown. Usually I don't charge them. Why? You know how hard it is to take the 14 single crowns, take the impression? How hard is you call the patient, have them come, give them numb, and then take new impression? No, I'm not those kind of guy. I just eat it 2 crown. But surprisingly, everything is okay. Probably I'm right or something like that. Or they send me 1 crown, everything cemented, and take the 1 impression for 28, we no charge them. It's very fair to them. So depends on the cases. Single impression so bad, I had to call them. We let them know. Single impression, single crown, small bubble, no problem. But 14, especially 28 teeth, and the 3 bubble, hard to read it, we made it here. And then we let them know 3 crown will get problem. So we replace for them. Why? These are 28 teeth. It's very expensive cases. So we give them benefit.
A lot of people are talking about, Emax versus zirconia. I want to talk a little about that. To me, a lot of the discussion is crazy. Like, I've been talking to you right now for 50 minutes.
Right.
I have not laid eyes on any of your molars. I mean, when people start talking about cosmetics, I almost think they're insane because I'm a dentist. I am always talking to people. I don't ever see people's molars. Like all my restorations. Have you seen any of my restorations?
Yeah, I saw that before.
What?
I saw that when you talk, I saw that 1 molar over there.
And what was it?
No, just color. I saw that it's color.
But what color was it? What kind of restoration was it?
Well, I don't know.
Well, I only have 7 restorations in my mouth. They're all gold inlays and onlays.
All right, okay.
And no, you just don't see them. So I hear these people talking about, well, it's a first molar and she's pretty and she's a girl and do you think Emax is should I do zirconia? It's like, well, first of all, how about you just realize no one's ever going to see it? I mean, look at people. Go on Facebook and scroll for an hour at every girl taking a picture of herself eating pizza you just don't see these molars. So, I think it's crazy that people don't do gold on at least their maxillary second molars. But what do you think about first molar? Let's just only talk about first molars because when you look at 100 million insurance claims, you just have 4 huge spikes on the 4 6-year molars. It's basically this barely units crawling along, and then it spikes at number 3, 14, 19, 31. That's a tooth most likely to have a filling, a crown, a root canal extracted, an implant. So going back to just the 4 6-year molars, do you really care if it's Empress or zirconia?
Well, here's the thing: is I all the time put my priority longevity number 1, number 2 cosmetic. So depends on what Jason teeth. So we can utilize with longevity. I don't like the fracture. So we can go to zirconia. Right now, zirconia technology is so fast. So we can utilize more sintering techniques so make colors better. For example, when whoever has the grinder, the almost grinder, so you have to go to the mono zirconia is better or full gold crown, right? So
right.
Emax full mono is not going to work for that. But beautiful lady, hospital fasa, not much grinding. I want to go to Emax because less, higher translucency, almost done. So that's why, highest translucency and beautiful aesthetic. So I can go with that Emax with who has the no grinder. But whoever grinder, I can go to zirconia with gold, like you said. But here's my goal. No matter what, regardless they see or not, whenever we open it, my job is here. I want to make the better. I want to make better. That's it. Then relay with another next year, next 5 years, they need the crown, same thing. 5 years later, they need the anterior, same thing. So eventually they got the natural lifelike restoration from us. That's our company goal. So that's the different concept. Meaning I trained my technician, we gotta be right. If doctors send a good color with the photo, we're trying to match it. But otherwise, Dr. Farran, what is the difference? Other lab already made it A1 chop crown cookie cutter, right? So what is the difference? So that's the difference: longevity, and color, and opacity, and depends on what patient grind or not. That one is lead to. I just want to talk to the young dentist, so young dentists can do the better job.
And when you're doing zirconia, what percent of the zirconian single unit crowns for a first molar are you making doing CAD/CAM?
Probably 70%.
70%, and what are the other 30%?
30% Emacs. I'm sorry. Let's put it this way. Probably 60%. I would say 50% zirconia, and 30% Emacs. 20% PFM. Still, they love PFM. I don't know why. I do have a lot of PFM.
I know why. Why? Because there's a lot of people that say, okay, you bite down on something, you hit a piece of grit. Well, on a PFM, the porcelain chips off. That's the weakest point. When you go to zirconia, and that zirconia is not going to chip, there's a lot of endodontists that think what's going to give is the root canal is going to crack. Okay. So a lot of endodontists are talking that they like PFMs because they don't want the weakest point to be the endodontically treated tooth. And so the real question is, are we seeing more failed root canals that are fracturing and having to be extracted because they had a zirconian crown versus something a little softer like Emacs, or a lot softer like a PFM, or what I chose in my mouth is all gold. I like gold because the only restorations I did 30 years ago that look better today are gold, because it's soft and malleable. And I remember some of these patients exactly where, I was almost not wondering if there was a good enough fit or this or that. And now you see it 30 years later and it looks like somebody welded it to the tooth. I mean, it's soft, it's malleable, and every time they chew on it, it just gets better and better and better. That's why, and it's sad because, Caucasian, European women in America don't like gold. I have no problem selling it in Arizona to my Native American Indians, my Hispanics from Guadalupe, my African Americans from South Phoenix and Ahwatukee. They love gold. I mean, they love it. But it's just, this is Dentistry Uncensored, and I know this sounds racist, but the problem is it's just white women. White women don't like gold, and they tell you they don't like gold when they have 7 gold earrings, a gold bar through their nose, a gold bracelet, a gold wedding ring. They have gold all over their body. So I think gold is the best. But I think what will be interesting over the years is finding out is that zirconia is too hard for root canal endodontically treated. So my question to you is, are you seeing more of these PFMs on endodontically treated teeth?
Yes, some, but I not severely notice it. But I notice it. We got a lot of PFM. And probably 5%, 3% is full gold crown, yes. But maybe that's why the reason about behind the story, like you said, which is I just heard about you, because I'm not a dentist. I'm not a clinical guy.
But when you go to other countries, like when you go to Africa and Asia, beautiful women sometimes on an incisor will go with a full gold crown. And they're just rocking it, and they look beautiful, and they're gorgeous women, and they have no problem. And sometimes they just put gold dots in their teeth, the gold foils. I know a lot of dentists that the only reason they learned how to do a gold foil is because girls in Cambodia and Indonesia and Malaysia and Johannesburg and Soweto, they come in, they just say, I want 3 little gold spots. So yeah, gold is sad. So what else do you think I know a lot of the young kids are driving to work right now listening to you thinking, well, what kind of prep do you like? What is your favorite prep?
I like deep chamfer.
Deep chamfer.
Uh-huh.
And it doesn't matter if that's for zirconia, Emax, PFM, or gold?
Yeah, everything. Yeah, gold is you can do the feathers. Feathers not a problem.
Let's call this podcast "Fatter is not a problem." I just like that. I mean, when you're short, fat, and bald, I think we should just name this podcast "Fatter is not a problem." So you like a deep chamfer, and let's take that zirconia, Emax, PFM, and gold, and arrange those from the one that needs the most reduction to the least reduction. Which one do you as a lab man need the most reduction for? Gold, PFM, Emax, zirconium to the least reduction?
Most reduction for Emax.
Emax would be the most.
Yes.
What would be second?
Zirconia.
Really? Zirconia over PFM?
Yes, zirconia I need more reduction is better because sometimes most of the doctors say it won't break, but you will break. Because whoever break the teeth, they will break. So I need a little bit more reduction occlusion, 1 millimeter. That would be great too.
So how much reduction do you need on the occlusal for Emax versus zirconia versus PFM versus gold? How much reduction?
Yeah, Emax I'm more comfortable about 1.5 millimeter.
1.5 zirconia.
Yeah, zirconia probably 1 millimeter.
1 PFM.
Yeah. PFM is 1.5 at least. 2 millimeters is the best. Because
so for PFM, 2 millimeters.
Yes, metal, opaque. I'm talking about in order to make lifelike restoration. I mean, looks good, looking crown. You know, if I make the bad opacity crown, yeah, I can get a 1 millimeter, but they will get the bad B1 color, which is not attractive. That's why young dentists think, why do I have to using the LSK? Same thing, just like that. So I need a little more reduction for a PFM. That'll be great.
Nice. I only got you for 3 more minutes. I can't believe this has already gone 57 minutes. Any other advice you can give these young dentists? You get to see incoming work from 500 dentists, 60% of which is in America, or 65%.
Out of state.
What else would you recommend that she does? What other better practices do you see?
Well, you know, I'm getting old too. So if
How old are you?
I'm 51.
Oh, I'm even older than you.
I know, but I've been dedicating my life about this year. I felt like more old, but I'm sorry. But what I'm saying, all they can do, they have to set up the more highest career, highest expectation. I want them to do better work every day. Then eventually, when they are 40, turn 50, they will going to do the high-end work for sure. So we can make the better United States. And then we have to make the better restoration than any world. That's my message to them. So we could make the natural lifelike restoration. We have technician and dentists knows more better than European, dental industry people. So that's my highly recommend to the all young dentists. They have a dream. I know they cannot pay right now, but they can set up the goal about 10 years later. They took a lot of a journey for the high-end course, and then they can do the better their work. So instead of see the 30 patients a day, I want them to see them 5 to 7 patients a day. So that's my recommendation. Appreciate your time, Dr. Farran.
And if they're coming to the Chicago area, you don't care if they come by your lab and look around and learn something?
No problem. I have call here. I do have a lot of staff.
Your website is LSK121.com.
Correct.
And the name of your lab is LSK121 Oral Prosthetics. I want to ask you one last question, a political question. They say you should never talk about religion, politics, sex, or violence. So let's just have one on politics. And that is, in the last 30 years, these dental schools have all closed down their CDT programs. Right. Now, if all these dental schools would have closed down their registered dental hygiene programs, dentists wouldn't have hygienists. And when I go around the world, I've lectured 1,000 times in 6 continents, like Hong Kong. their
Right.
dental school has a larger class of CDT students than
Wow.
they do dental students. Germany, it seems like Germany is one of the only countries serious about training certified dental laboratory technicians and their status and the years of training, and they get mastership. And it's like the Germans, and think of the Germans, they make Mercedes-Benz and Porsche and Volvo. What does America make? Chevy, Ford, Chrysler. I mean, and the difference is Germans are serious about training dental laboratory techs, and Americans closed them all down. I think there's only 3 programs left in the United States. So my question is, do you think the dental school deans should go back and revisit that decision to close down CDT schools? Do you think your laboratory would be well served if you had a supply of people coming out of dental schools that, the dental schools, they graduate dentists, they graduate hygienists, but do you think they should graduate certified dental technicians?
Yes, I completely agree. But the sad part, even though they do have a 2-year college degree, the problem is the college don't have any highest technology than we have. So problem is they only knows about terminology, how to do here and there. So is my thinking is pros and cons. So depends on the laboratory required, depends on laboratory needed. So if dental laboratory school will revival, that'll be great, but they have to teaching more future dentistry, more high tech. Then laboratory owner can get a lot of employee, then we are win-win situations. That was, I completely agree what you're saying, but we have to make some good program for dental technicians.
Okay, well, you're an amazing high-end dental laboratory technician. I know you're busy. I mean, my gosh, you're one of the largest high-end labs in America. And Luke, I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show today and talking to my homies about how they can do dentistry better.
Thank you, sir.
All right, have a great day.
Thank you.
Go have lunch with Byung Sa.
All right.
I guess you have so much to talk about. You're both born in Seoul, Korea. You're both in dentistry. He's one of the most amazing people I've ever met in my life. Gosh, that guy, he is so smart. You and him should be best buddies.
Okay, thank you very much.